Hello, everybody, and welcome to Material Impact, a podcast that shows what it really takes to grow in industrial and manufacturing markets and what happens when smart strategy meets the real world. Today, we have Kendra Griffin on from uh, Wood Floor Business, and we're going to be talking about visibility, branding, and the importance of really strong and good media partnerships. Um, and that's why I have Kendra here because Kendra and I go back a couple of years working with on to the benefit of one of our clients in the hardwood flooring space, and she's really helped us make an impact with that client as they re-entered the market, the marketing scene, we can call it. Um, Kendra is an account executive at WFB and a graduate of the University of Minnesota in marketing. And she holds minors in retail, merchandising, and business management. And for the past 14 years, she's been helping companies recognize opportunities to exceed their sales and marketing objectives through the use of creative marketing initiatives through the trade publication that she represents. When she's not helping brands find their voice, Kendra is the mom of two cute kids, and she loves to cook spaghetti and meatballs, apparently, which she learned from her grandmother. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
What's the secret?
Oh, the secret is a little bit of sugar, caramelize some onions in the bottom of the pan and some olive oil.
Oh, that does sound tasty. Okay, so Kendra, why don't you just take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself and do a better job than I just did?
Sure, thank you. So I'm Kendra Griffin. Thank you for having me. I am the National Account Director with Wood Floor Business Magazine. We are a B2B media publication, and much more than that these days, obviously, for the wood flooring industry. So we provide a lot of technical information, business management, articles, a lot of reader contributed content for wood flooring professionals. Everyone from installer contractors, distributors, to retailers, designers, architects, inspectors. So we really cover all segments of the wood flooring industry. I would say most of our content is geared toward the wood flooring installer contractor, retailers, and distributors.
I want to touch on all of that, but I also want to bring it back. You also do market research that you share with your advertisers, correct?
Yes. So we have a team internally here that does a lot of market research on our behalf. So we have a very engaged audience. And I think it's important to go back to kind of the beginning of our publication. So we started about 35 years ago, and we have a very close relationship with our readers. So we're very lucky and thankful that they're willing to provide a lot of insights to our brand. So we're able to capture a lot of their demographic information as well as just general information about their businesses, opportunities for growth, kind of the information they're looking for, and also kind of what they're looking for in products, which is obviously very helpful to our manufacturer partners.
So, Kendra, let's start at the beginning and sort of build up toward the specialization of the publication where you work, and talk a little bit in general about the importance of trade media for manufacturers and suppliers and industrial verticals. Why is it, in your view, and important for a B2B company to become familiar with their verticals trade media?
Sure. So the very short answer to that in my eyes is this is where your prospects are engaging. We've cultivated this very engaged audience, and hopefully you can find a similar trade media brand in your space that has done the same. So they're really coming to us on a daily, oftentimes hourly basis across our different platforms for business know-how, troubleshooting, even entertainment on our social media. So they're really engaging here, and it's important to partner with a trade publication that is that has that partnership with their readers.
So to me, that's very interesting. I find in your space, hardwood flooring, it's very sort of it's small. There's not like 20 publications. You guys have a small niche market that you're looking for. So do you feel that um, suppliers and manufacturers in other industries might have the same opportunities to have as close a relationship as your advertisers have with you and your team?
I do. I think our publication, so I've worked for three of our different brands under our media umbrella here. And ours is unique because we are very niche in the hardwood flooring industry. So it's kind of a small town feeling. Everyone kind of knows everyone. But I do think you can find trade media partners that do the same thing on a larger level, on a larger scale, I should say. So, for us in particular, I think we have an exceptionally engaged audience because they are coming to us. Like you said, there's not many trade media organizations in our industry, but I think you can find the right media partner in any industry.
That's fair. I think that's very fair. So let's talk again, like a little bit about the general, when I broke into the, advertising world, trade publications were offline
Mhm.
properties. There were print magazines that you would get in the mail. You would subscribe to them like any other magazine, and you would have a relationship that was very one-sided,
Mhm.
right? Now, you guys and other B2B, publications do really well merging sort of the digital and the offline together. Can we talk a little bit about that and like why being an advertiser with you guys is a little bit more holistic than it used to be in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. So we still, have the print publication, and this is our mainstay. We know 52% of our audience still only engages with print, which is interesting. And I think that's definitely unique to our industry. But of course, like you said, it is more one-sided. We do try to have more reader contributed content, which I think encourages more engagement with the print piece. But then also,
Hmm.
so much of our engagement and story ideas and just content in general comes from social media these days. So, our editors do a fantastic job on social media, kind of cultivating this audience where people really come for community, and even entertainment. So I think we'll get into this a little bit more, but I think it's so important to kind of identify your brand's personality. And we tend to be a little bit more informal and encourage engagement. And we're always looking for content ideas on social media, and it's a gold mine for that. So I think there's just a huge opportunity for companies to engage on social media and partner with trade publications in doing sponsored content there. Email is also huge. Um, so we send emails on companies' behalf, and because our readers, or our audience, I should say, has to subscribe, they opt in and provide their contact information, their job title, and a lot of demographic information. So you can choose to send an email to our entire list, or we can target your exact prospects by business type and or location. So there's a lot of targeted opportunities on the email side these days if you find the right media partner. Similarly, on the website, we have a lot of web only content, blogs. We do live demos. So there's a lot of content opportunities there. So I think it's really important as a supplier to look at marketing holistically. You really should be on all of these platforms because if you think about the way your prospects are engaging, some may go on social media and only engage there, some may only engage with print. Oftentimes, people are doing a little of all of it. So you really want to be everywhere they're engaging.
I love this. I have a follow-up question. You mentioned that 50% of your readership only engages with the magazine itself, the print edition.
52% of our
Do you have
audience,
any?
and that's been consistent over the last 6 to 7 years. It's really interesting.
So what is your? I'm just curious to know what your hypothesis is on why that
Sure.
is.
I think Well, I know a few things. One thing is the demographics of our industry. It tends to be men. The average age is 53.5. So we know that our average reader is, mid 50s, been in the industry for more than 10 years. And I also think just wood specifically is a very tangible product, and that type of creative, often creative mindset likes something tangible. So, like holding the print piece, obviously, um, wood just lends well to print, like these beautiful floors, doing a nice print spread. So I think it's a few things
Yeah.
in particular for our industry.
But are your readers more the the end users, or are they more the manufacturers and suppliers?
More the end users. So our biggest reader
Right.
groups are the contractor installers, distributors, and retailers in the industry.
Right. So it kind of makes sense. These guys are on job sites all the time, and they don't have necessarily the time to be at a computer or on their phone, looking at your digital properties as
Yep,
much.
exactly.
I would I I would imagine that you can reach them pretty well with live events and demos or emails.
Yes. So the live feedback, or I should say the in-person feedback we get at trade shows is always the guys love having the magazine in their truck, and when they have a break, they'll just go out and page through the magazine. Our podcast has really taken off too because of this, because the guys can listen to it as they're sanding or coating a floor. And then we have seen our mobile traffic really skyrocket over the last couple of years. So again, it's because these guys are not sitting behind their computer on a daily basis. They're on a job site. So
Right.
we really are mindful of that when creating content, that a lot of it is going to be consumed on mobile.
So when you pick up a new advertiser joins your client roster, um, do you find that your publication is one part of a bigger whole for them, or is it like everything for them
Oftentimes it's
in terms of their advertising program?
sure.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's everything, and a lot of them do a little bit on their own, like a little bit of social media, but oftentimes, the people I'm working with are like the business owner or the general manager of a manufacturer. They're not marketing professionals, and so I really work as a consultant to them, and I love that about this industry, because I do form such a close relationship with a lot of them, and I get to really understand their business, their goals, and help them craft a campaign to achieve them. So I think that's probably, well, I guess it's maybe not unique to our industry. There's probably a lot of smaller niche industries that are like that. But I think
Hmm.
it's more of a consultative role I have than just a purely sales role, because we are really working to build out their entire marketing campaign.
Yeah, and I can vouch for you on that because I think a lot of the work that we've done together is very back and forth and very sort of not a negotiation, but a sort of a crafting of packages,
Mhm,
right, for the client that we're working on together.
mhm,
And I think what's amazing to me, and I don't, maybe it shouldn't have surprised me, but maybe it did, was I, just the range of different options that you can provide in a package, in terms of being creative, in terms of different ways of reaching people, in terms of, our ability to actually give you creative um, assets to work with, right?
mhm,
And often, I'll also go out and say, like, Kendra, you're really good at giving us feedback on our creative as well. Like when we hand something in, you'll let us know, even if it's not asked of you, if we need to make a tweak, or if something is not laid out properly, or even from a conceptual level.
mhm,
You've given us advice and feedback on, what really speaks to your audience.
mhm. Yeah, I think the key there is finding the right media partner, and there has to be trust there. So, I'm not afraid to go back to you and say, this is great, but I think we need to make this tweak because I want it to be most effective for you. And I know what is going to be impactful to our readers. So, um, ultimately it has to be the right partnership there. And I really view all of my clients as partners, and I hope they view me as the same. I think that back and forth is so important just to make sure everything is the best and most impactful it possibly can be.
Yeah, and I think you make that promise very true. Like I don't know if it's your experience or who you are as a person, but I always felt like we weren't we weren't working sort of. I don't know how to properly explain it other than to say that I feel that you're an extension of our team working on behalf of our shared
Well,
client.
thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does, and that's always my goal, so I appreciate it. Makes me very happy to hear that because that's really my goal on a daily basis. I wanna act as your advocate, your consultant, and really guide you to what's going to be most effective for your company. We all win then, right?
Mission accomplished.
Mm,
100%, 100%. And I think what it's done in terms of our specific relationship for the client that we share is, you know, establish a level of trust. Like our spend, has changed because of this
mhm,
relationship. And I think it's a reflection of our mutual sort of interest in making sure the client
mhm,
thrives. And I can say we've worked with other trade publications and we've worked with other representatives, and it's just not always the
mm,
same. And I'm not referencing your industry, I'm
sure.
referencing the wider B2B
Yeah,
space, right?
absolutely.
Um, so let's shift gears a little bit, Kendra. Let me ask you. I see some of the ads that comes into your magazine and through your online portal. Some are more polished than others. I'm curious to know what your advice would be to both suppliers and manufacturers, and what separates those that seem to thrive in your environment versus those that have trouble standing out. Any thoughts on that?
Definitely. So I think I always like to start with just what is your brand identity? How can we hone in on that and really focus on your strengths? Oftentimes, I find it's the people and the expertise you offer. So, your products, I'm sure, are great, but everyone's offering a product. So, how do you differentiate yourself? Oftentimes, that's your technical expertise. You can offer R&D, um, the people, like there's just amazing people within every company, and I think leveraging that is so important. So, in print specifically, I think really keeping things simple, concise, consistent is really important. But just consistency overall. So I think focusing on your brand identity and then being consistent with your messaging. So, I like to encourage companies to start with sort of a brand styling sheet where you identify your logos that you use, your colors, the fonts, and make sure it's consistent across everything you do. So, print, social media, emails. And I know this is something you work with clients on too. So, if you don't have the wherewithal to do that yourself, I think I would highly encourage companies to find an agency like you guys that is able to help them achieve that.
I think a lot of what you're saying also has to do with frequency, right? Like
Absolutely.
the company that shows up in your publication more frequently will stand out more than the one and done kind of have to be
Oh,
theirs.
yeah. I
Do you have a
always
lot of like?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I
No, no,
always
no. Go.
recommend frequency over size when it comes to marketing. Like, we have specific topics and product focuses in every issue that make sense for, let's say, a sanding machine manufacturer to be in our sanding equipment issue. Absolutely. But I'd much rather see them do 4 quarter page ads throughout the year than 1 full page ad in that issue because it's the same readers and prospects that are coming back month after month. They're not just going to read that one issue. So, marketing is really about consistency, getting your brand out there and being top of mind when, oh, they do need a new sanding machine, and they might not remember seeing your ad in one issue or one email or one social media post, but if you're there consistently, you're going to be top of mind when they need that product.
Right. And yeah, just because you have a special edition on a specific topic doesn't mean that's when I'm in buying mode, right?
Absolutely.
Do you have any statistics like if well, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyhow, is if a client is interested in understanding what their brand recall is in the context of your publication and their media buy, that's something you can help them understand?
Absolutely. So, as you know, we do an ad recall survey, and we use a third party called Baxter Research. They're wonderful to work with. And I think suppliers can probably contract with them on their own too to track their ads, but we contract with them for one of our issues, and we do it for all ads in that issue. And it provides just an enormous amount of insights on, who's looking at your ads, what do they like about your ad, what do they not like about your ad, speaking about the creative specifically, but then also that you get brand feedback, product feedback, requests for additional information. So you just get so much information from doing an ad recall survey like that.
That's great. That's great. I think a lot of people who are, especially those who aren't working with an agency but working directly with you, probably don't understand the value of things like that. They should really dig into what it is they're getting out of the partnership. I think a lot of, certainly the family-owned smaller businesses that might appear in your magazine, they probably don't understand beyond everybody's there, I need to be there, why they should actually be advertising
Yep,
and be present.
absolutely. And as we
So
all know, print is really difficult to track. So, on the digital side, like our email and our banner ads and the podcast, like all of that, we have hard data to track the ROI. So you're able to see all of your analytics. Print is very different. And it's so important still in this industry. Like we know half of your prospects are only engaging there, but it is really difficult to track. So I think doing a survey like that just makes that a little bit easier to digest.
So let me ask you, so for a company coming into the space who's never advertised before, whether it's in, the hardwood space or in general B2B, like how do they start? Where do you start to get into working with a publication like yours?
Sure. So, where I like to start is just more of an informational, almost like an interview that goes both ways. So, for me, I know what's going to be most effective for manufacturers in reaching their prospects, but I need them to tell me and to outline what their specific goals and initiatives are first. And oftentimes, when we hop on a call, they haven't even thought about that yet, which is completely fine, but we kind of walk through that together. And I sort of know too, or I think I know what they're going to say or what they should say. So I can kind of guide them into like, okay, let's outline your specific goals. Not just for this campaign, but like, where do you want your business to be in 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And then how do we get you there? And it's not necessarily only talking through what we're going to do together, but also like what can you do on your end that is going to be most effective.
Mm.
And I know a lot of the companies I work with don't necessarily have a marketing team. So I can give them just simple, very simple things they can do on their end, like pick a logo and be consistent with that. Make it your profile picture on your social media accounts, and use that consistently everywhere. And just, little things like that. But it's really honing in on your goals and initiatives and then finding a media partner that can help you achieve them.
How do they find you in the first place? Is it just word of mouth referrals or
Word of mouth, referrals, trade shows. Obviously, I'm doing cold or warm calling on my end all the time. Um,
yeah.
my information is, um, on everything we do, unfortunately. I hate that part of it, but like my headshot is on everything we do with my contact information. So it's on the masthead of the magazine, it's in all of our emails. So we do a lot of marketing, obviously, on our end too. But yeah, a lot of times it is. I've been in the industry long enough and it's a small enough industry that most people know me at this point. So there's that. I think in
Right.
bigger industries, just if I were a supplier looking for a trusted media brand to work with, I would ask around and I would subscribe to all of them and just kind of get a feel for their personality and what feels like the best fit. I know in our industry in particular, there are multiple media options and we each kind of have our own personality and one might be a better fit for others and we might be a better fit for some. So I think it's just finding that right match.
So, Kendra, let's talk a little bit about like the importance of working with the trade media as a, from a trust perspective with the audience, from credibility booster. Why would a brand, you know, be better off coming to if they're going to spend X amount of dollars, spending it all with a trade publication versus, you know, other
Doing
digital
Google ads on your own or things
possibilities
like
like
that.
Google ads, social media boosts, all that sort of thing. What are they going to get out of working with a trade partner, publication partner, than they wouldn't get out of search and social and all of those other options?
Sure. So we've touched on this a little bit, but I think it's really that audience that we've cultivated. So we offer them free, very engaging, impactful content that has an immediate benefit to them, their lives, their businesses, and they're coming back here daily, hourly for that information. And we've been around for 30 years. So they're used to engaging with us and we add just that immediate legitimacy to your brand. So I think especially when you're an up and coming brand or a brand that maybe needs to do some PR work or or just looking to get your name out there a bit more, and even I really like it for companies that are looking to scale. So, you may be a mom and pop operation right now, but that doesn't mean you need to be seen as that in the industry. So, we really allow
Right.
those companies, like I love working with companies that are operating out of a garage right now because we can really help them compete with the big conglomerates of the world and that have been doing marketing
Mhm.
for a long time, but it really just lends legitimacy, I would say, and also that cultivated audience that's already used to engaging with us.
Yeah, it's almost like the great equalizer, right?
Mhm.
The smaller business in your magazine with a proper branded presence can look as legitimate and professional as a very well-funded company.
Absolutely. And again, the branding is key there. The ad creative is key. But if you find the right trade publication or agency like you guys, we can help you achieve that.
So let's talk a little bit about that in terms of branding. And, we talked already about, helping companies make sure that they're consistent and that their logo is clean, their colors are defined and all that stuff. But like, do you find that B2B companies in general are good at this stuff?
No. And I always tell people too, I don't expect them to be good at these things. They're running a business and they're experts at that. I can't run their business. So I think the key is finding a partner that you can trust to do your marketing, to do your creative, and really understands your business, but also what's going to be most impactful to your prospects. So, no, most of my clients are not adept at marketing or creative or anything like that, and it's completely fine. I think it really is just finding the right partner that can do that for you.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, in so many cases, there are companies that don't even have a person, who's responsible for even just managing a marketing program or shuffling, asset A over to partner B kind of thing. Like they're just not organized like
Mhm.
that. They're in a technical industry. They need to focus on their delivery. They need to focus on their sales. But the argument that we always put forth is that the nature of the B2B researcher and or decision maker who's going to want to buy your goods is is
Mhm.
changing. There's a lot of digital usage. You got to be present in search. You got to be present where people are looking for you. So much research goes into, finding the right supplier or the right material provider, and it starts online.
Mhm.
Like what companies don't seem to understand is that what you do is put them in front of the right eyeballs and with the right frequency, you know, perhaps in the right
Mhm.
moment. But when that person executes a search, right, you need to be showing up, whether that's your own website, whether that's the WFB or another trade publication's website. You need to be present digitally for it all to come together at the right time.
Absolutely.
And
I don't wanna interrupt you, but
it,
I
it, it
just
doesn't
wanna
take much.
mention one quick thing because I think
Yeah.
it's really important here. So, marketing is obviously so important so that you will be top of mind when they do need the product that you're creating. But how they're going to find you is they're going to do a search for you. So,
Right.
when they're ready to buy, that's what they're going to do. You'll be top of mind because they've seen your ads, but they are going
Correct.
to probably just Google your company name.
Right. And you've given compelling reasons why, if you only have so much to spend, that spend should be with the trade publication. And I totally get that. But a lot of the effort that goes into showing up online for search results, it doesn't really require a lot of spend. It just requires
Mhm.
time. So if my advice to those businesses, if they can't outsource a marketing strategy and execution, then find a little bit of time and assign somebody internally to post on your website, to take pictures internally, put them out there. Because what happens is, if they've seen you in the magazine and then they find you in search, the credibility for who you are as a business, just elevates.
Absolutely. As we know, anyone can send an email these days, anyone can post online, so that's really where finding a trade partner comes in, is that legitimacy.
100%. 100%. So this has been a great conversation, Kendra, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I just wonder if you have any like parting advice for those who are looking to benefit from the presence a trade. This is a terribly worded phrase, but like how somebody could benefit from being present in trade publications.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I have a couple things I'll just quickly say. One is find a trade publication you trust and just send them information anytime, all the time. I always tell my partners, like, don't ever feel like you're sending me too much. I want all of your information. So, any company news, personnel changes, new product launches, awards you've won, even if they're just local community awards, send that to your trade partners. And any free marketing is a great opportunity. So we're always happy to include that information on behalf of our partners. And if you find the right trade media in your industry, they should be willing to do the same. Um, Also,
Yeah.
I think don't be afraid to try new things. So I always recommend an integrated approach to marketing because we know people are engaging with print, online, on social media, with podcasts. So I recommend coming up with a campaign where you are going to be showing up across all of that. But also, don't be afraid to suggest, like, if you have a great idea, suggest it, and you never know if your trade partner is willing to execute it.
Right. And I'm going to add one last thing to that, which is don't be afraid to start small. If you're
Yes,
interested in
yes.
advertising with your relevant trade publication, go to their website, download the media kit,
Mhm.
see what they have to offer, and buy a quarter page ad or buy an email that you could do. Like, just test it
Yes,
and see the results, and then work with someone like you to craft a more detailed strategy.
absolutely. Gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's so important. And I all the time companies are intimidated to just start the conversation because they feel like, they hardly have any budget and we can really work with any budget. I think it's going back to, really honing in on what makes you stand out or differentiate yourself in the industry. And then maybe we just start out with you sending me press releases and we can grow
Mm.
into doing an email blast and a social media campaign, and then you see the return on investment and we can grow together from there. So, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's not necessarily as expensive as you think it might be. Like,
Absolutely.
it could be very well worth the investment.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Well, Kendra, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's always a pleasure talking, and I guess we'll connect soon.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.